Vineyards with us today. And Kerry is going to tell us a few more things about how the winemaking practices in India are. Hi, Kerry.
Good to be here. Good
Thank
to
you
see
so
you.
much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you too. So, to start with, can you tell us about the organic and sustainable vineyard practices that could be possible in India?
Well, Sula's is looking to sort of lead the way in sustainable wine growing in terms of keeping and honoring Mother Nature and Mother Earth in many ways. And Rajiv Samant, my friend, partner, founder, co-founder with me of Sula, and a lot of that is harvesting in terms of being gentle with our grapes, gentle on the earth, and use in I think in just layman terms, using less energy, using less water, wasting less, and putting more input back into the earth. The way we do that in terms that I think really shows what we're doing is we harvest water, all the water that comes off the roofs. We harvest, we save instead of pumping water. In India, obviously, water is a very important commodity, and so we harvest water, use it for irrigation. In terms of energy, instead of using diesel generators and electrical power that runs off the grid, that is oftentimes uses coal, which creates smoke and smog. We are now looking at by the end of this year, producing 60% of our own energy at all of our different wineries, which is amazing through solar panels. In terms of grape growing, in terms of our inputs, again, I mentioned using less water, putting fewer chemicals back into the soil, and all of this, I think, promotes a healthy living and wines ultimately that are tastier, yummier, and better for the earth.
Great. And where does that stand when you talk about volume versus quality? Because Sula is a huge wine company, the biggest in the country, and there is a big volume that you have to also look into when you are, planning your strategy for one particular year, the production. So, it's popularly believed that if it's a big volume brand, then the quality somehow might suffer to an extent. So, how do you create a balance for that?
Well, Sula is the largest winery in India, but that doesn't mean that we don't think like a small artisan winery, which that's a lot of that is my role in terms of defining the pulse of winemaking and grape growing here at Sula. We work on tenets that, again, speaking to which I just spoke in terms of sustainability, we think about each step. We grow our grapes and make wines in such a manner that we choose smaller tanks for our handcrafted wines, and so we really act like a smaller winery with our premium and our elite brands that make us look and feel like a very small winery where everything's touched many times, but gently and with also just an artisan feel.
And that brings us to the discussion we were having earlier. You're planning to have some new variants which are going to be in the premium category. So you want to tell us?
Yeah, we're very excited. It's important. Again, Sula being sort of the leader in terms of defining the category. 3 new wines that are coming to Sula this year are a Reserve Sauvignon Blanc that will be aged. We make lots of lovely. We sort of defined. We defined most of these wines, but in terms of Sauvignon Blanc's a great variety for India in terms of its minerality. Well, this year we're making a Reserve Sauvignon Blanc that will be a little bit more tropical, aged partially in French barrel, and it'll be luscious. It'll still have the wonderful character that our Sula Sauvignon Blanc, but it'll be sort of have a yummy factor that I'm really quite excited about. We're also going to be making a barrel fermented Chardonnay, and in California I make a lot of Burgundian style Chardonnay, so that's going to be, and we're using native yeast, which means that's the yeast that's just that comes in with the grapes, and it'll go through native malolactic. So it'll be Burgundian, French Burgundian, Burgundian style, but it'll be nasi driven.
That sounds really interesting.
And then the last wine will be a Rasa Zinfandel. So Rasa currently is 2 wines. It's Shiraz and Cabernet, and we're going to be making a barrel-aged French barrel-aged Rasa Zinfandel, where we've limited the crops, taken the wings off the clusters to make them more concentrated, and so that we're excited about that.
Great.
3 new wines.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've been coming to India for so long. So where do
Nearly
you see
20 years.
Yeah. So where do you see the future of Indian wine industry?
Well, I think there's a huge opportunity. We all at Sula think there's a huge opportunity for wine consumption. Considering, India is a country with so many potential lovers of wine. We've just, I think, scraped the little teeny surface of the opportunities that are here. I really, every time I come, I taste more wines from other producers, and I'm so happy to be able to say that Indian wines are really getting quite yummy. And I think it's just, it may be generational, but California, post-war was a non-drinking, or I should say the United States was a non-drinking area. Now U.S. Purchases and consumes more wine than any place in the world. So India has all that potential. It may take a generation, but there's all that potential.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kerry.